Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we are doing r/ nuclear revenge. I hope y'all enjoy and let's get into it. First post is steal my meds, enjoy divorce, jail, joblessness, and sleeping in your car. 16 years ago, I made a friend one day on the bus. Until about a year ago, I considered this guy a member of my family. Let's call this guy Joel. I keep a crystal bowl on the mantle above my fireplace full of medical marijuana. I started noticing that after poker night, my bowl seemed a lot emptier than it should be. So I set up a camera to see which one of my guests was helping themselves when I turned my back. Next poker night, once everyone was gone, I pulled up the video. There was Joel, plain as day, stuffing $60 worth of my medication into his pocket. I sent him the video and told him he had to return my medication or pay for it, and I told him that if he chose to do neither, he could no longer be considered my friend. He denied it, even with the video staring him in the face. He said he hadn't taken any. He had the nerve to act offended by the fact that I would accuse him. So I decided to ruin his life. Over the years, he had told me a lot of things he didn't want his wife to know. Affairs, shady crap he did with their joint funds, drug issues, terrible things he had said about her mother, and her sister. I went back through all of our messages, took screenshots of every secret he had ever said to me. There were over 70 pictures. I sent her screenshots. Here are some examples of the kind of stuff that was in screenshots. He admitted to cheating on her with 8 different women over the course of our friendship. Taking money they were saving for a car and using it to buy drugs, specifically Xanax and perks. In fact, that he was continuing to do drugs after he promised he was clean and sober. Some of the things he said about her and her family. She was a foul, disgusting woman, and reasons they never had sex is that he can't handle smell in between her folds. He also said he was pretty sure she was molesting her niece, and said that all of her friends only pretended they like her so that they can buy oxy off her. Also, as I'm editing this, I'm just remembering that he said he wanted to get one of his side chicks pregnant because he's always resented his wife for being infertile. Her sister is insanely harpy. Her sister abuses her kids. This is not true, but he said it. Her sister is faking her autoimmune disease for attention. Her mom is fat, lazy cow who doesn't actually need a wheelchair. She's just not having to stand up or bathe herself, so she's malnourished. There's more things, but that's what came to mind without me having to dig through the screenshots I sent. She filed for divorce and reported him to the police for drugs he had in their house. While he was doing his 8 months in jail for the pot that he stole from me, his boss filled his position and he lost his job. His now ex-wife won't let him in the house. Now he lives in his car and showers at truck stops. I found out the aftermath in some parts. So come from his ex-wife, she told me about the divorce, kicking him out, and getting him arrested. Someone came from a guy, Joel, and I used to be friends with both who worked at the place Joel used to work. He told me about the job loss, car living, and the truck stop thing. I'm still on good terms with his ex-wife, and I've even sent her some enchiladas the other day for Cinco de Mayo. I also sent the video to our mutual friends, so he's lost 90% of his social circle. I cut off the other 10%, out of my own life since they wanted to associate with known thieves of birds of a feather. Well, it's funny how it turns from just like a very minor thing, and then it goes, oh, boom, and it blows up like a nuke. I guess that makes sense where the name comes from. But yeah, that was that's pretty cool. I like seeing thieves get their lives destroyed. Don't know why, but pretty fun to read. Anyway, next post is an ex almost mother-in-law fired me for unrightfully, so I destroyed her company. Hey everyone, I decided to start my story. It all took place 17 years ago, but it feels like it belongs here. At the time, I was 20 years old and dating my first true love. We had been together for 1.5 years. Alrighty, and everything was just great. Her mother really liked me, and she had her own company, which traded fashion clothes for kids. She made tons of money. They needed someone to drive their 3.5-ton truck, and she came up with the idea to hire me because I was unhappy with the job I had. So a win-win situation. I accepted her offer, and we started working together. The job was okay, even though I had a huge amount of overtime because she thoroughly introduced me to how the whole company worked. She had a huge storage facility, a store, and 2 trucks. One that I drove, and a big one. I worked for her for a year, and in that time I knew every single thing about the company because she trusted me with all her dirty secrets. This came in handy later. This is where the thing took a huge turn. I found out that my girlfriend cheated on me with her ex, and as a result I broke up with her instantly. It was an ugly situation, and after I went down, I called her mother and told her what was going on, and I don't want to mix things with your business. So I will still be there for work, even though I don't want to see your daughter again. She said everything is alright, but of course she sided with her daughter and felt that she is mad at me because of the breakup. I went to work and acted as professional as I should. Took all the drama aside. However, soon after, she singled me out and started looking for mistakes so she can discipline me. This has been going on for months, and I realized she was just waiting for the excuse to fire me, but I wasn't going to give her the reason for her to do that easily. She was pissed that she couldn't find a big mistake, and all the small ones just often made up was not enough to terminate me. So she came up with a plan. Only truck we had a power generator, which generated light and a power for the printer, laptop, and so on. It worked in 2 ways. With fuel, when we were on the road, and with cable, in case we were at the storage. But it was not made by the company. They just hired an electrician for that, and he made an error. So we had to flip a switch all the time if we used the cable with connection. Otherwise, it would burn down. As I loaded the truck, she convinced a coworker to flip the switch back. After a few minutes, the lights were gone, and I noticed something was wrong. It burned out, of course, but I knew I didn't forget the switch because I was loading the truck for an hour, and it only took 5 minutes top to burn the switch out, to burn the light bulb out. So it couldn't have been me. She didn't even hear me out and started yelling at me and fired me on the spot. And she stated she's going to pay the repairs out of my last salary, so I don't expect any money from her. I didn't take that lightly and told her that I don't want to go this way with me, but she refused to listen. It took a few days for me to cool down, but I wanted to give her a last chance. I called her and told her, even though um, I know this was gonna go on, and she said, and she did set me up. But if I got my money, I will call it an end. And we don't have to see each other again. She told me to F off, so I came up with a plan. First, because I knew that the store she had didn't have a bathroom, which was illegal in my country. The shop assistants had an agreement with the restaurant and the opposite side to go there if they needed. I reported this to the authorities on the next day, and they closed up shop because this was a violation and told her she can't open until they have a bathroom. She called me right away and asked if I had anything to do with it. I laughed at her and told her, "Didn't I tell you that you didn't want to go through with this way with me?" And I hung up. I knew that we worked so much overtime that me and the other truck driver had so much on drive on the taco cards, whatever that means. It records how many hours you drive and how fast and when you stopped. So I called the authorities again and told them everything. They went to check all the records and gave the company a brutal fine. She sent me an obscene text all day long. I replied, "Ain't done yet." Then silence for a few hours went by, and my phone rang. She called me and asked if we could talk it over. She even said that my last paycheck, but I shut her down immediately. Too late for that. And I called her, the fire department, and told her that the wires they had in the walls of the storage were out of date, and which caused the short circuit daily. And they only have 2 fire extinguishers for the whole place, when they should have like 12 to 15. On that very day, they had to close the storage as well, so she lost the last place where she could make money for months. Until they get everything up to date and renew all the wires, which is going to cost a huge amount of money because of the fines she got for the different authorities. She couldn't afford these right out, of course. A few months later, she filed for bankruptcy. I know because my ex-girlfriend called me. "I hope you're happy, butthole. You made my family bankrupt." I never got my paycheck, but at that point, I didn't even care anymore. I was happy with my outcome. I hope y'all enjoyed my story. My ex-girlfriend. Well, she's married to the next guy, and she now has 4 kids. And the second child, she really let herself go. And now I'm happy that I didn't have a child for her. I'm not gonna fat shame her here, but damn. At least they're still together, so maybe, just maybe she learned a lesson and did not cheat on him, or so I hope. About me, I had a long-term relationship after her. My son was born, but she was a lazy gold digger, so after 5 years we separated. I've met the love of my life after that, and since almost 9 years, we're still happy. She's also out of a terrible relationship, abused in domestic violence, so she truly appreciates me, vice versa. I love her to death. I hope this answers all the questions. Love you. Bye. Well then, that was something else. Yeah, okay. Well, I guess that's what the mother gets. If she's really gonna side with her daughter after she literally gets an explanation on knowing that her daughter cheated, and then she's gonna back her daughter up like that, I think she kinda deserves what she got. But that's just me. Our next post is, I didn't give my twin brother my kidney because he had an affair with my girlfriend and then outed me as bisexual. I was told to post here in this was the Revenge Cast. Fake names, obviously, for reasons. Me. Okay, I'm just gonna refer to that as OP. Um, Brother is Sebastian. Mom is Mom. Dad equals Dad. Sister equals Jane. Best friend Isaac. Cousin Kai. Backstabbing cow girlfriend. And husband Daniel. Okay. Ryan, and OP, and my twin brother Sebastian have never been close. In fact, he made my life a living hell growing up, and my parents didn't help by paying forward favorites, getting him better stuff on his birthday, only going to see films he liked at the cinema, and giving him extra money for housework despite us doing the same amount of work. He would always put me down, belittle me, bully me with his friends at school, break my stuff, and then blame me. And I was just pain in general. Growing up, the only people I knew to rely on was my older sister Jane and my cousin Kai, my best friend Isaac, who knew all the awful person my brother was. Anyway, got to when I was 17 and I had my first girlfriend, someone I loved very much. We didn't have sex because she wanted to wait till she was 18 to lose her virginity. But it turns out that she was having an affair with my brother behind my back for half the time we were together, and only got caught when she revealed that she was pregnant. I was crushed. She knew how much I hated my brother, and she saw some awful things he did to me, but she still went and did that. Cheating is bad enough, but to do it with him of all people. I punched him in the face and broke his nose and made him lose his teeth. But according to my parents, I'm the only one in the wrong now, and now we have to help this girl who's carrying my brother's child and have to help support them. My brother said that he had no intention of being a father and told my girlfriend to get an abortion. She then ran out of town, and I never saw her again. Don't know if she had the baby or aborted it. I know she was gone, and my folks were still praising my brother as the golden child. I was the black sheep and the failure as usual. Another year goes by, and me and my brother still despise each other, but I had started dating again. It was a long time before I found a boy I liked. I'm bisexual, and this new guy Daniel I have met at college and caught an eye of. He was deaf, and I studied sign language out of boredom, so we got talking, and things just seemed to click. We date, we fall in love. I bring him to my friend Isaac's party to introduce him to my friends, and all feels great. At this point, the only one who knew I was bi was Isaac. But one day, walking into a cinema, holding my boyfriend's hand, I bump into my evil twin. He points, laughs, says I'm homophobic, or barks, and then I tell him to go ask himself, and I go see the movie with my arm around my boyfriend. When I go home, after dropping my boyfriend home, I knew I'd be facing something as I walked in the front door. I saw both my parents on the sofa and my mother crying about how on earth she could give birth to something so disgusting. Was it too much to hope she would about how on earth could she have given birth to someone so disgusting? But no, she was talking about me and how I saw the light stain our family's name. My father gets up to yell at me, spout some homophobic remarks and slurs. At this point, I see my brother up the staircase with the poo-eating grin on his face. He then comes down and says he's uncomfortable sharing a room with okay. And my folks kick me out there, and then with what little clothes and money I had, I went to Isaac's house, and his family took me in, where I stayed for 6 months, actually experiencing familia, love, and affection. And Isaac's mother and stepdad I considered my own parents now. Daniel and Isaac I'll get a 2-bedroom flat together, and all is good for the time being. So cut to last year, me and my boyfriend, now husband Daniel, are married. Isaac was my best man, and my sister and my cousin walked down the aisle. I have a brilliant job in graphic design, have my own house by the sea, and life has never been better. However, I got a call from my sister that my brother was in the hospital. I hadn't thought about him that much over the 9-year period since I was kicked out, but being reminded of his existence brought me a lot of painful memories for me. I was told by my sister that Sebastian wanted me to see, and it was urgent. So I went to the hospital. He was in, and I met my sister outside the front entrance. I asked what this was all about, but she didn't tell me, and that I just needed to ask my twin. So I arrived to where my brother is and my parents at his side. My folks actually look happy to see me, as if they did to me hadn't happened, and Sebastian also looked really pleased to see me. It's safe to say something was off. Eventually I asked what was going on and why I was even here, to which my brother tells me the family had to leave us two alone. He looks so weak, but as before, he used to intimidate me so much. He told me that I was dying from kidney failure and has been for the past few years, but he didn't have long left. I knew immediately where this was going. He then said he regretted that we never got along, in which I told him no. He looked confused and asked what I was about, so I simply told him that I wasn't going to donate my kidney to save him. He looked as if I had just pooped in his food. He then went on about how bad the situation was and that he was really sorry for all the things we did to each other growing up. Excuse me. We did to each other. I told him that I wanted a brother growing up that cared and loved for me and wouldn't try to break me for 18 years of my life. He then called our mom and dad and told them that I wasn't going to give my kidney. And then I started to spout out that I owed them for their existence and that I have a duty to look after their family. I asked them where their duty was when all the things they've done for outing me and having an affair with my girlfriend and abandoning his child, that this universe and my way of finally getting back what he dished out to bite in the arse. I turned around and walked out of the room, having that be the last time I ever saw Sebastian again. Not sure why they want that word kidney anyway. I walked past my sister, who gave me the look. I gave her the look and turned and looked and said, I understand. After leaving the hospital, I felt as if a great weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I went home and never looked back on my decision. Now last week I get a call from my sister informing me that Sebastian has died. She asked if I was okay, and I said I was. That really didn't feel anything in all honesty. She said she understood to a degree, as Sebastian hadn't really been kind to her over the years either. I had my husband and Isaac there to support me. Honestly, at this point, Isaac may as well be my adopted child, since his living with us, this whole situation with the world is over. The next day, I get a call and text from my family members, who I haven't spoken to in years, telling me that I was going to hell for being a bad son, being a bad brother, and for being gay, or bisexual. And me and my husband don't deserve a child. Husband and I have been looking for an adoption or a surrogate. This makes me second guess my choice of not having my brother, my kidney. Even in death, his making things harder for me. I did wonder if I was a bad person, and if I had made the wrong decision, but I knew that if that position, I would have left him for dead. That he would have left me for dead. Screw him. Other bits of information. His failure was from living a hardcore lifestyle of drugs and alcohol. My folks and sister did get themselves tested to see if they were going to match, but none of them were. I disowned them of being my family years ago, apart from Jane. So, when I got married, I took my husband's last name and hyphen it with Isaac's last name, to which his folks were very pleased about. Hyphened. Some family, Kai's folks and my dad's brother, have actually called to see how I'm doing, and say they don't judge me for what happened. Others have continued with set abuse, whom I never have blocked. Anyway, that's it. I hope y'all enjoy, and peace.
I saw an old man get hit by a train. He didn't see it in the pouring rain.